Yeah. Let's get into it. So, welcome. I'm Torsten. I'm the co-author of the AI Ready CMO. And this week, and also last week, if I remember correctly, in one of the issues, we highlighted that we believe there is a new skill that every marketer needs to know. And we consider this skill so important, we actually referred it to as the Excel of 2026. If you're old like me, then your parents, if you're younger than your grandparents, had to live through quite a few technological changes when the broad spreadsheets were suddenly the thing of the past. And if you didn't know how to use Excel, you were basically unemployable. And the same was with email. I'm pretty sure you know someone in your family or friends who just couldn't make the switch to email. I know it was a long time ago, but believe me, there were people like that. And there are going to be people who won't be able to make the switch using this new skill, which is agents, AI agents. And we feel quite strongly about this. So we wanted to start a new initiative, which we called Teamless, which is still inside the AI Ready CMO. If you subscribe to the AI Ready CMO, you will still get everything. But we wanted to give it a name because we consider that it's so important. Teamless in the sense that you probably won't need as big of a team as you have now, or as big of a team you are sitting on now, because there are going to be agents which can do a lot of work. And Teamless also in a sense that, we all hear about layoffs and whatnot. You can build your own company with these agents. So I think it cuts both ways. So we felt this name is pretty interesting. Um, what I'm going to demo today is a simple agentic workflow, how to work with agents. And specifically, I'm going to work with Claude Cowork. Let me just put this full screen. So what is an agent and how does it different from AI, so to speak? I'm pretty sure those who are here, you've all used AI in some capacity. I imagine you started with ChatGPT and asking, what is the capital of France, as everybody does. That is a chatbot. And you can do a lot of things with a chatbot. Where agents are different is that agents can do work for you. And what does that mean exactly? What do agents have that a chatbot doesn't have? Well, they can work with your documents. Yes, you can upload a Word or an Excel file to a chatbot, but they cannot work in a folder, for example. Agents can. Agents have skills. These are reusable workflows that make them truly operate like a coworker and less of a chatbot. They can use the browser. Now, that is huge. So, ChatGPT or Claude or any other chatbot cannot open your Chrome and take a look at a website. These agents can, and we will demonstrate that in a second. They also come with integrations. So, your ChatGPT cannot connect to your HubSpot or cannot connect to your Notion or cannot connect to your Microsoft Teams. Agents can. To varying degrees, but for example, they can connect to your HubSpot and you can work with your HubSpot data right in your agent, or your agent can work with your HubSpot data. That's not going to happen in an AI chat. And there are a few other things that some agents have, some agents do not have. Scheduled tasks. The one we are going to talk about today has scheduled tasks, and we are going to demonstrate that. Some are always on. If you've heard about OpenClaw, which is going around like crazy, that is, for example, an always on agent that literally never sleeps. And some of them can be remote controlled as well, which is really fascinating because you can literally iMessage your agent on the cloud that is always on and tell your agent, hey, can you please do this task for me? And I think if you can read between the lines, it's clear that an agent is a coworker. an AI chat is just an AI chat that you can, bounce ideas off or add, bounce ideas add, but it won't ever function like a true coworker. Today, we are going to talk about Claude Cowork. And I think most of you know Claude, but most of you know the chat, which is just called Claude. And some of you probably heard of Claude Code, which is for developers specifically. Claude Cowork sits somewhere in the middle. Claude Cowork is Claude's agent, desktop agent specifically. It is much more intelligent than just Claude the chat by itself, but it's much more user friendly than Claude Code, which is truly for developers. It, as I mentioned, it is a desktop app. So you can just Google Claude Cowork and download it to your own computer. Now it is available for Windows as well. It used to be Mac only. Now it works on both platforms equally well, and it is paid. And that is just the sad truth. Um, you will need a subscription. The cheapest you can get is $17 a month. That is if you have an annual commitment, or $20 a month if you just go month by month. Or there is a $100 per month or $200 per month package. I personally use the $100 per month package, but I also use Claude Code. You probably won't need that. I think the $20 a month package will take you pretty far. And those were all my slides, because from now on, we are going to actually work in Claude Code. And this is the Claude desktop app. If you know this app, then you're familiar with the interface. If you don't know this app, then once you open it, you will notice that you have a chat, a cowork, and a Claude Code. Exactly those three things that I just mentioned. And we are going to work on this second tab, which is the cowork. Cowork is structured around projects. A project can be your whole company, honestly. A project can be a campaign. A project can be a quarter, however your work is structured, and you can create a new project. When you create a new project, you basically use a folder. So a project is a folder, which kind of makes sense if you think about it, how you structure your own work. You might have a folder for Q2 campaigns that is going to become a project. I've set up a project, and this is what we are going to demonstrate today, or I'm going to demonstrate today. And this is going to be about a fictional baby bearing brand. Now, it's an ongoing joke at the AI Ready CMO that I can only think of two examples. One is baby bearing, the other one is running shoes. It is not completely wrong. And that just comes from my personal circumstances, I imagine. I'm not baby bearing anymore, but I'm still into running shoes. We are going to work in an empty folder, because I want to show you how to build knowledge on knowledge upon knowledge upon knowledge. And it is a live demo, but it's a live demo in a way that I will show you what happens, but I will not wait for the results, because sometimes it will take 5, 6, 10 minutes to come back with the result. So I did all the work in advance. So I will show you what is coming at the other end. But we will not have 5 to 6 minutes of awkward silence on this stream just to wait until Claude finishes what it's doing. Let's start with the first prompt. Remember, we are in an empty folder. Let's say I want to launch a new baby wearing brand, or I have a baby wearing brand. And I first want to understand the competitive landscape. So this is a prompt I wrote, and I asked Claude to analyze baby wearing brands. These are going to be our main competitors. I will come back here in a second, because you can see that I'm giving very practical tips to Claude Cowork. I will tell you in a second why I'm doing that. But if you're in marketing, this will be very familiar. For each brand, analyze a few dimensions like key messages, brand story, voice, tone, product positioning, and so on. I'm also asking Claude to deliver this as a single Word document, brand by brand deep dives, messaging matrix, competitive matrix, and strategic implications for a potential newcomer. I'm going to do this, and I'm just going to start this prompt from the beginning so you see what is actually happening. And take some time for Cowork to spin up its own computer. It has its own computer in the background. If you click here, you can actually see what it is working on. It is going to create a to-do list for itself, which you will be able to see here up in the top right corner. And here's the to-do list. It's going to research 5 websites and then write a competitive analysis. And it is working in Claude in Chrome. Now, if you go to the browser, what you see is that Chrome has taken over my browser. Ergo Baby has some problems, but it will get around it. So it will be like, oh, this page doesn't exist, this page doesn't exist, but it will get around it eventually. And it's just clicking around like a normal person. Oops, you see, it just found the company mission statement and history. So now it's analyzing the first brand. Soon it's going to open another tab and going to analyze the next brand. I'm not doing anything. I haven't written a single line of code. It is just working by itself, taking over my browser. And this is going to take some time because it needs to read through all the five competitors. So I'm going to stop it, but I'm going to show you the result. I can open the whole thinking trace, as it is called, and see what it is doing. But the main points are visible even if I don't open these little harmonica sections. And it says, okay, done. The document passed validation. View your report. Let's see what it came up with. So it came up with a competitive analysis that would probably take a junior 3 days. It's a nice table of contents, brand by brand deep dives, and this is for each brand. What I asked for: brand overview, key messaging, headlines, brand story, narrative, voice, tone, product positioning, trust signals and proof points. Very cool. Emotional appeal, potential gaps and vulnerabilities. That's going to be important because that is something we want to work with later. You can see that it did this for all the 5 brands, and it included a competitive messaging matrix, and it also included strategic implications for a newcomer. We're going to get back here in just a split second. But first, I want to highlight something. So web browsing is hard. When I first ran this prompt, it actually didn't work. I had to be very, very specific and tell Cowork that it should use the main navigation and or the footer navigation to find the relevant pages. And this is a big dichotomy with AI in general, but AI agents specifically. They are geniuses, but sometimes they act like a 3-year-old. They cannot find their way out of a paperback. So I had to be very, very carefully. I had to be very, very careful briefing it where to click. I didn't need to specify where to click exactly, but I had to specify how to find the information. And you can see here as well, I asked it specifically to browse their websites with the Claude in Chrome extension, which is an extension that you can install into your Chrome or Comet or Edge, Microsoft Edge as well. You can find it in the extension store. That's an official extension by Claude, by Travel. So it will take some trial and error. These are 2 tips that you can use. One is asking Claude to use the extension. And the second one is maybe giving it a tiny bit of hint how to use websites in general, because it is genius, but sometimes a website can just it's just insurmountable. But with this little help, it managed to put together this competitive analysis. Now, let's say that um, I want to white space positioning opportunities for a new entrant. Very interesting. So, as a dad of a toddler who did a lot of baby wearing, I actually really like the father-led brand. No brand in this study is positioned primarily for fathers. There's the market gap. There's the opportunity that we want to exploit. Now, man and baby wearing, believe me, it is a delicate. So to get to something usable, I told Claude that I really like this idea. And please do two things. One, please put together a research about man's attitudes towards baby wearing, social media, and so on. Make this a Word document. And then identify fatherhood influencers. Focus on mid-sized creators in the US and make this an Excel sheet. Now, if your job or your team's job involves finding influencers, you know how thankless of a task this is. This will take easily a day for a junior, and probably more because they will be doom scrolling TikTok, pretending that they are trying to find the influencers. Now, Claude did this in about 6 minutes, so I'm not going to run this because the same thing will happen. It will open the browser and it will start looking at websites and run a lot of searches. Let's see what it came up with. It created a fantastic report about attitudes, barriers, and opportunities about the topic. This is actually a very good read. I had the time to read it, and missed marketing opportunities. Fantastic, and it also put together a pretty okay, I would say, a pretty okay list of influencers. I asked for mid-sized influencers in the US, and you can see there's the name, handle, platform, followers, content focus, what is their niche, there's the profile URL. It is great. It is actually good. It only found, I think, about 12, 13, 14. I could have asked for a specific number. I could have asked, like, find me the top 25, and then we have a little more to work with. But I think it's a pretty good start. I think so far we probably saved almost a week's worth of work here with these two prompts. Now, could you have done this with just chatting? The answer is actually yes. But as we go deeper and deeper and deeper, you will see that all the knowledge that we are creating here, which sits in this folder, sits in our project, it's going to help us a ton. It's going to accumulate. And that's where an agent really works differently. For example, in my next prompt, and I'm just going to run this, in my next prompt, I am going to ask it to based on the research, I don't upload anything. I don't attach anything. It's working in the Baby Wearing Live folder. It has access to all the research that we previously created. I will ask Claude to create a tone of voice guide and the key messages document and save these as two separate markdown files. I will show you what a markdown file in a second. And make sure you remember their existence. Use your memory. And let me address both. If I say let's go, it is going to, I'm also not going to wait for it. This is going to be fast, but I don't necessarily want to overwrite what I already have. But you can see, yeah, this file exists from previous session. Okay, fine. So what it did is, based on the research, let me check if there's existing research. And it didn't get to that because it realized this has already been run. So let me go back there actually. So what happened here? What do I want? Uh, there is existing research in this folder. Let me read the relevant pieces. So it read the relevant pieces and it saved these two files. These two files are the brand tone of voice and the key messages. Again, these are Markdown files. What the heck are Markdown? Markdown files are just text files. So this is a Markdown file. You can see that these are actually all the prompts that I am using on this stream. These are literally just text files. Think of it as text without formatting. It's not exactly without formatting because, for example, if you put a star there, that becomes a bullet point. If you put something between, if you leave two stars, it becomes bold and things like that. But why we are using Markdown files is they are very, very efficient. An agent doesn't need a Word document with headers and table of contents. Those are for humans. It just needs the text. And these are much, much more efficient for agents to work with. So I asked for a Markdown file, but you can edit. You can actually check the Markdown file here, and it's showing it really nicely. I love the tone of voice, actually, who we are talking to. For defining qualities, direct and straight talking, warm without being soppy, love it. Grounded in evidence, very good. Confident and inclusive and never trying too hard. Absolutely love it. I think Claude nailed it. And the key messages are really good too. It even added things like how to use this document. What is this document? When to use it? This will be important later. What is the main brand message? You were built for this. We built this for you. I think this is a really good key message. I didn't expect actually Claude to come up with something this good. What are the core messages? I think these are all good. Just believe me, these are good. We will not go through it line by line. We will sit here all day. But let me go back here. I told Claude, and make sure you remember their existence. Use your memory. And what happened here is that Claude saved memory references, so both files will be flagged as context for any future brand work we do together. What does this mean? We have a key messaging guide and a tone of voice guide. Claude said, okay, I save it to my memory, and memory is project by project. So only for this baby there. There are two files that exist that I always need to look up when I work on something marketing related. Immensely helpful. This is not something you will find in for example Claude as the chatbot. I'm just going to add these two pop-ups here. Was a post-it notes here. I love how old school we apply, but I think these are important. These are going to be our main takeaways from this stream. So now they are in the memory. So now that they are in the memory, and this is how the knowledge is compounding, I can say something as simple as, based on everything you know about our brand, design a 5-step email drip campaign for people signing up on the website. We give them a 10% coupon. You can use Shadow as our brand name. It's a terrible brand name. I came up with it, not Claude. I realized that because it's just an example. I never actually defined the brand. And it said, yeah, no problem. It generated the drip campaign, and it even wrote the text for it. Subject lines, preview text, and the copy. Now, if I would have HubSpot integrated, for example, I could, which I don't, I could tell Claude to, can you please upload this to HubSpot as transaction or as emails? And then I can just go to HubSpot and set up a workflow that sends these emails. You can find, I think it's customize, connectors, and plus browse connectors. and you will see that there are many. So that means your agent can talk to many, many, many potential platforms, software. HubSpot is one, I believe. Yeah, Supermetrics is one. I wanted to check if Salesforce has one. Salesforce doesn't have one, but it has connectors to CRMs. It has connectors to CMSs. It has connectors to all sorts of analytics platforms, and so where did my post-it notes disappear? Oh, I forgot to make them sticky. Sorry about that. So if you are using some specific platform, you can check if there's a connector for it. And if there is, please absolutely do use that. And while we are on this page, I also wanted to show you the skills. We will talk about skills in a second, but there are very, very good built-in skills or built-in skills and plugins. What is the difference between skills and plugins? It's a little bit obscure. Plugins are more like a bunch of skills, and skills are independent skills. If you're in marketing, please go to plugins and install the marketing plugin and the brand voice plugin. You can just search here. They will come up. They are immensely helpful. So these are skills. The name speaks for itself, that Claude can immediately use. It will understand a lot about how to write good copy, how to give good titles, how to write a good subject line, so on, so on, so on. So these are all there for you, ready-made, and you can just take and use them. Skills we will cover just a little. Okay, we have a drip campaign. Fantastic. If you have HubSpot, you can set these up, and HubSpot can send it out. Now, another very practical example. Okay, we launched. What we're going to do is we're going to advertise on Meta, and I promise that this is going to be the only time I'm going to show you something this ugly. But if you're running ads, you will be very familiar with this. This is a Meta ad dashboard export. And I wanted to show you this because what we are going to see is extremely powerful. And I personally use it every day. You're a marketer, so I'm not going to go into a lengthy explanation, but we have ads sitting inside ad sets. We have conversions, cost per conversion, amount spent, impressions, unique outbound clicks on the ad, CTR, cost per outbound click, so on. And what I'm going to analyze here, fictional scenario, but I'm pretty sure you can think of something very similar in your case. We are running ads for two cohorts. We're talking about dads here. So let's say we have a cohort of 23 to 30 and one for 30 plus, and we have a broad targeting and a narrow targeting in each cohort. It's a very simple, but actually very common setup. What if I want to analyze these ads? What if I want to know what works best and why? And Claude is really kicking this out. I'm telling Claude that you will find some meta ad campaign results for two demographic cohorts with two targeting approaches in this file. Now, when you're referring a file, find it here at. And when you say at and start typing the file name, it actually references the file directly. It's a neat trick. Just wanted to make sure that you're aware. So much so, I'm actually going to open a sticky note for it. But back to the analysis. I am interested in the performance difference between the two approaches in aggregate and in the two cohorts. I'm interested in all these numbers. I need deltas. I want to know which approach works better and by how much. And I especially want to understand what influences the cost per conversion, which is going to be a North Star for most of us. And there's some more information about how we run ads. I don't need charts. present your findings in the same Excel file in a new worksheet called analysis. Now, I'm not going to run this because this is going to run for about 20 minutes. And Claude Cowork is, somebody joked, it's basically Claude Code for the rest of us who are not developers, which is true because what Cowork did is it wrote a whole like Python software to analyze all these meta ads, and it came up with this incredible, uh, incredible table or worksheet. I didn't change anything here, not even the formatting. It did the coloring and everything by itself, and it gave me an overview of the difference between broad and narrow targeting in all cohorts, broken down per cohort, or first one, second one, and it gave me very easy to understand rationale about what is driving conversion and why. I found truly useful things here. For example, the older audience is dramatically more efficient in both targeting modes. Cost per conversion is roughly 3x lower for the narrow older than the narrow younger, because the older cohort appears to have substantially higher purchase intent. I love this. And coming up with something this sophisticated, again, would take, I think, good few hours for even someone who's like pretty versed in Excel, especially the analysis. So Claude Cowork can do this easily. And let's take it even further than that. I remember that I want to do this every day. So I asked Claude, can you please save this with a new name? I just want to add today's date. No problem. Saved it as today's date. Why I did this? Because I told it, convert everything in this chat into a skill. I will export the meta ad results every day, named as this, with the same column headers. I want to be able to run the same analysis and then have the file saved in today's date. Let's call the skill meta ad analysis. And skills are reusable words. If you are exporting the raw data from your meta ad dashboard every day, and you want to get this report every day, why would you copy paste prompts and rename the files and so on when you can just create a reusable skill? And that's what Claude did. Now, skills need to be very specific. And I learned this the hard way. You can see that I actually ran this prompt 3 times in 3 different locations. Why? You read the first prompt and it started working. I'm not able to find it. It's that trace disappeared. But it basically said, okay, every day I need to find the broad/narrow cohort approach in the older and younger cohort. I was like, no. What if I want to use this skill on a different campaign? Maybe we run a different A/B test. Maybe we have different cohorts. Maybe we have different approaches. Maybe we have 2 different landing pages. And that's a two cohort I want to test. So I said, okay, but the ad sets might be completely different. I said, no problem. Ad sets are different, but it's always going to be a broad versus narrow comparison. It's like, no. We have multiple products and we do a lot of A/B testing. Please make it as flexible as you can. So when you're setting up a skill, please always read the trace, because you will be able to catch issues that will make that skill unusable. But you can always try it again, and you can always make your prompt more and more concrete and specific. So be very specific when you're creating skills, because otherwise your skills won't work the way you want them to work. And this one works. It created a skill, 0 errors, package it, and this is the end result. Dynamic cohort detection, handles multiple cohorts automatically, formula-based tables, data-driven narrative, low volume flags. If there are just a few conversions, I clicked on save skill, and now I have a skill, and it's called meta ad analysis. And next time I open this, all I need to say is /meta analysis. It will take the raw data that I just downloaded. It will run the same analysis, and it will save the file with today's date. And I don't need to do anything. And I can even convert that to a scheduled task. So scheduled tasks are tasks that are running at a scheduled time. So I would say, I want a new task. I want you to work in this folder. I want to do the daily ad analysis. I don't know, description prompt. For the prompt, I would say meta ad analysis. That's it. That's my prompt. Frequency, weekdays at, where I set AM, PM. You see, I thought this is 24 hours. I'm so sorry. I don't know where to set AM and PM. I know that's embarrassing. I expected I can just use military time. Yeah, I can. So every day at 4 p.m., this is going to run. And this is going to be fully automatic as long as my computer is turned on and Claude is running. Now, thankfully, there's a keep awake button. So if there are scheduled tasks, then Claude will prevent your computer to sleep, which is very useful because then these scheduled tasks can just run. And we're getting a little bit over time here. So I just want to show you one last thing. And it's this one. So we have an Excel sheet. And as the last step, I told Claude, can you please take this worksheet, the analysis that we just gave, this one, and imagine I need to show this to my boss. Now, my boss is a smart guy, but I don't want to send this to him because no context. I want to have an interactive report, and that's the problem. It's very, very short. And Claude did and created this, which is an interactive website showing with charts what performs best, what performs worse, all cohorts, younger cohort, older cohort, what drives cost per conversion, and the top and bottom three ads by performance. And this is coming from something that is running automatically every day at 4 p.m. I don't need to do anything. And I can also make this schedule. So if I have the ad analysis scheduled at 4 p.m., I can schedule this to 4:30. And because my Gmail is connected, I can simply set up a new schedule for 4:40 to send this to my manager. And I just automated all the reporting that I need to do in a day. So agents are doing work for you, automating your own work for you, potentially automating a lot of people's work on your team. And I hope this was useful. But I also want to say the only way to learn this is to try. This is a learning by doing thing. There are YouTube channels with good videos describing how to do that. I just did walk you through some agentic workflows in the last 40 minutes. But honestly, the more you do it, the better you get at it. So I know it's $20 a month or $17 if you're willing to pay annually. And it is a lot of money in a sense, but I think of it as a career insurance um, because you're going to get so much more productive. And I truly, truly think that these agentic skills are the actual skills of 2026. And if you cannot do this, you are probably putting yourself in danger, if I want to be entirely honest. So thank you very much. Truly appreciated the opportunity to walk you through this. As Peter said, the recording will be available. We also have a discount for if you want to support our newsletter. And actually, the paid plans come with a lot of perks. So have a good evening. Have a good day. Thank you very much.